Alright, hello everyone, this is Paul from SpanishWithPaul.com and welcome to today's video where I'm going to show you how to express I found out. Now, I often see other Spanish courses teaching this incorrectly, so instead I'm going to show you how native speakers actually do it. That way you can copy them and have your Spanish sound as natural as possible. That's all coming up next. If becoming fluent in conversational Spanish is one of your goals for this year, then consider clicking the link above to download my free course books that go along with all of my YouTube lessons. You can also subscribe to my channel to get a brand new Spanish lesson from me every single Monday. So with that out of the way, let's get started. There are two ways that we can express the phrase I found out in Spanish. The first way is using supe, and the second is descubrí. So these are our two options, supe or descubrí. Both of these mean I found out. Now, in order to use them naturally, meaning just as a native speaker would, we have to make an important distinction between the two. So let's compare these two sentences to demonstrate this. The first sentence reads, I found out what happened. And the second one reads, I didn't find out what happened. Now, whenever it's on the positive side, I found out what happened, I found out where he is, I found out how to do it, the correct word to use is descubrí. It almost reminds you of the word I discovered in English. If, however, you're saying I didn't find out what happened, I didn't find out how to do it or where he is, then the correct word to use is supe. So this is the important distinction that we have to make. On the positive side, you will use descubrí. However, on the negative side, when you are using the word didn't, you will change and use supe. Before beginning, let's spend a minute just looking at the pronunciation. First of all, we have descubrí. Counting the syllables, we have descubrí, descubrí. Notice that we have an accent over the I, and this is very important. In order to be understood, you must hit that ending of the word, descubrí. The second sound is supe. It almost reminds you of the word soup in English with an e sound at the end. We have supe, just two syllables, supe. Let's put both of these into practice now. To simply state I found out, in Spanish what they do is say I found it out. They would always include the it. So it becomes lo descubrí. Literally, it I found out, or it I discovered. Lo descubrí. For example, what's the word for yesterday? Ayer. So to say, I found out yesterday would become lo descubrí ayer. Literally, it I found out yesterday. Lo descubrí ayer. What's the word for today? Hoy. How would you say, I found out today? Lo descubrí hoy. What's the word for last night? Anoche. How would you say, I found out last night? Lo descubrí anoche. Now, if we want to turn this around and say, I didn't find out, it would become no lo supe. Here we've made the switch into supe because we are using the word didn't. So I didn't find out, no lo supe. How would you say, I didn't find out yesterday? No lo supe ayer. I didn't find out last night. No lo supe anoche. It is possible to use descubrí and supe on their own, meaning without including the lo. But you need to be very specific and say exactly what it is that you found out or you didn't find out. For example, what's the word for the truth in Spanish? La verdad. So to express yesterday I found out the truth would become ayer descubrí la verdad. How do you express this morning? Esta mañana. Now say, I found out the truth this morning. Descubrí la verdad esta mañana. Another example could be with the phrase, what happened? This is something that we've used a lot in other lessons. How do you say it? ¿Qué pasó? Now try to say, I found out what happened. Descubrí qué pasó. I found out what happened yesterday. Descubrí qué pasó ayer. How would you say, I didn't find out what happened? No supe qué pasó. I didn't find out what happened yesterday. No supe qué pasó ayer. There's a wonderful little pronoun in Spanish which means to him or to her. What is that? Le. Let's add this now into our formula. If we want to express what happened to him, it would be ¿Qué le pasó? Literally, it means what? To him, it happened. ¿Qué le pasó? ¿Qué le pasó? Now, we could also ask this as a question. For example, what happened to him? We'd simply use the intonation of our voice and say, ¿Qué le pasó? What to him happened? ¿Qué le pasó? How would you ask, what happened to him yesterday? ¿Qué le pasó ayer? What happened to her last night? ¿Qué le pasó anoche? Remember that the pronoun le can mean both to him and to her. Let's try this one. I found out what happened to him. Pause and think it out. Descubrí qué le pasó. Literally, I found out or I discovered what to him happened. Descubrí qué le pasó. How would you say, I found out what happened to her yesterday? Descubrí qué le pasó ayer. How would you say, I didn't find out what happened? No supe qué pasó. Notice that we didn't need the pronoun of le in this one because it simply said, I didn't find out what happened. No supe qué pasó. What about this one? I didn't find out what happened to him yesterday. No supe qué le pasó ayer. How would you simply say, I didn't find out? No lo supe. Finally, how would you say, yes, I found out? Sí, lo descubrí. Always be mindful of that distinction. Where you have didn't, we go into supe. Where we simply have I found out on the positive side, you go into descubrí. The word for until in Spanish is hasta. How would you say until today? Hasta hoy. Now try this. I didn't find out until today. No lo supe hasta hoy. What's the word for the truth? La verdad. How would you say, I didn't find out the truth until today? No supe la verdad hasta hoy. How do you say what happened? ¿Qué pasó? Now say, I didn't find out what happened until today. No supe qué pasó hasta hoy. I didn't find out what happened to her until this morning. Again, pause, think it out step by step. No supe qué le pasó hasta esta mañana. With the word about, we have a couple of different options in Spanish, but we're going to go with the word sobre. How would you say the truth about what happened? La verdad sobre qué pasó. Now try this one. I didn't find out the truth about what happened to her until today. No supe la verdad sobre qué le pasó hasta hoy. What's the word for now? Ahora. If we want to express right now, meaning this very second, it changes to ahorita. Ahorita. The H is silent, so the pronunciation skips from the A straight to the O. Ahorita. How would you say until right now? Hasta ahorita. Now try this. I didn't find out what happened to her until right now. No supe qué le pasó hasta ahorita. You could also reverse that order and say, hasta ahorita no supe qué le pasó. Either way will sound natural. He's here, she's here, and it's here is all expressed with está aquí. So está aquí means he, she, or it is here. We can also add a name such as Maria is here. This will become Maria está aquí. How would you say, I found out that Maria is here? Descubrí que María está aquí. I found out that Jose is here today. Descubrí que José está aquí hoy. How would you say all day? Do you remember? We covered it in previous lessons. Todo el día. Literally all the day. How would you say, I found out that Ricardo is here all day? Descubrí que Ricardo está aquí todo el día. At this point, I'd like to mention that there are many regional differences in the way Spanish is spoken. Even within the same country, you'll often find lots of variety, and I'm going to give you an example of this now. When I first moved to Mexico, I lived for 3 years in the north in this state here called Sonora. Right now, I live way down south here in the Riviera Maya, but I used to live way up here. Now, let's go back to our sentence, I found out that Maria is here. In the north, they would say, descubrí que la María está aquí. Literally, I found out that the Maria is here. They would do the same with José. So I found out José is here. They would say, descubrí que el José está aquí hoy. Now, putting in la or el with the names is not something that you hear in the south of Mexico. It's only used in the north of the country. Now, both constructions are completely legitimate and completely correct in Spanish. It's just that you have slight regional differences from one area to another, let alone from one country to another. Underneath, the structure of Spanish tends to remain very stable, but on top, with these little decorations, such as this one, you will find that there are differences between regions and countries. Returning back to our lesson now, I'd like to incorporate he, she, and it is going to. Now, the incredible thing with Spanish is that all of this is covered or expressed with one syllable. That is, ba. We have ba-a in the written language, but very frequently you simply hear this contracted to one syllable, ba. It carries quite a strong B sound for the V. So ba means he is going to, she is going to, and it is going to. Let's try to use it. First of all, how would you say to be here? Estar aquí. Now say she is going to be here. Va estar aquí. What's the word for soon? Pronto. Now say she's going to be here soon. Va estar aquí pronto. How would you say, I found out that she's going to be here soon? Descubrí que va estar aquí pronto. I found out that he's going to be here tomorrow. Descubrí que va estar aquí mañana. What about this one? I found out that he's going to be here until tomorrow. Descubrí que va estar aquí hasta mañana. What's the verb to arrive? Llegar. How would you say, I found out that Maria is going to arrive today? Descubrí que María va a llegar hoy. What's the word for when? Cuando. How would you say, I found out when it's going to arrive? Descubrí cuándo va a llegar. What about I didn't find out when it's going to arrive? No supe cuándo va a llegar. Hopefully you remember to make the switch into supe because we're using I didn't find out. What's the word for where? ¿Dónde? Now say, I found out where it's going to arrive. Descubrí dónde va a llegar. One more, how would you say, I didn't find out where it's going to be? No supe dónde va a estar. As we know, the sound of ba means he, she, and it is going to. To switch into isn't going to, you simply add no at the front, so it becomes no ba. So we have ba for going to and No va for isn't going to. Just as above, this one stands for he isn't going to, she isn't going to, it isn't going to. No va. How would you say, yesterday I found out that she isn't going to be here? Ayer descubrí que no va a estar aquí. The expression by the way in Spanish is a propósito. Notice that we have an accent over the o, and it's important that your stress falls there. So we have propósito. A propósito means by the way. For example, by the way, I found out what happened last night. How would you say that? A propósito, descubrí que pasó anoche. What about, by the way, I found out what happened to him last night. Be careful here. A propósito, descubrí que le pasó anoche. The word for unfortunately is very long in Spanish. We've used it in a few previous lessons. Can you remember what it is? Desafortunadamente. Pause it if you need to go through the syllables. Desafortunadamente. How would you say, unfortunately, I didn't find out what happened to her yesterday? Desafortunadamente, no supe qué le pasó ayer. Once again, what's the word for about? Sobre. Now pause and figure out how you would say this next one. Unfortunately, I didn't find out the truth about what happened to him. Desafortunadamente, no supe la verdad sobre qué le pasó. Going through it, we have unfortunately, I didn't find out, no supe, the truth, la verdad, about, sobre, what happened to him, que le pasó, literally what to him happened. Desafortunadamente, no supe la verdad sobre que le pasó. The secret to building longer sentences like this is to place your building blocks carefully, one on top of the other, and to take it slowly, not to rush. The answer in Spanish is la respuesta. Kind of looks like the word response, or reminds you of that in English. La respuesta. How would you say, I found out the answer? Descubrí la respuesta. What about I didn't find out the answer? No supe la respuesta. Unfortunately, I didn't find out the answer. Desafortunadamente, no supe la respuesta. What's the word for how? Cómo. And how would you say how to do it? Cómo hacerlo. Now say, I didn't find out how to do it. No supe cómo hacerlo. The word todavía in Spanish can mean yet or still. Todavía. How would you say, I didn't find out how to do it yet? No supe cómo hacerlo todavía. Finally, yes, I found out how to do it this morning. Sí, Descubrí cómo hacerlo esta mañana. Actually, I can't resist giving you one more. How would you say, unfortunately, I didn't find out how to do it until yesterday? Desafortunadamente, no supe cómo hacerlo hasta ayer. If you're serious about learning Spanish and want to become conversationally fluent, my main course, Spanish with Paul, is live and available for you now. Inside you'll get my complete course, none of which is available on YouTube, and also my personal attention to make sure you achieve conversational fluency in the fastest time possible. In short, if you like my free lessons on YouTube and the results they're giving you, then you'll love what I have for you inside the main course. You can click the link on the screen now to find out all the details. So with that said, I look forward to seeing you again in my next video.